Hey guys, it's John again. I figured I'd leave a message today about negotiations. We're fielding lots of questions here at Contract Diagnostics, and we hear the same ones a lot. And so I figured I'd take time today and go over a couple of them. One question we get all the time: how do I negotiate fair compensation in terms for a new physician who's unfamiliar with the process? Well, first off, have some help. That's what we're here for. We hire professionals all the time, and you guys should too when it comes to your contract. So how do you negotiate for fair compensation? Well, one way is just to lean on somebody with a lot more experience and expertise than you have in this market. But of course, we encourage you guys to discuss and have conversations with the employer of yourself. And I never know how to guide somebody and how to negotiate. Do I ask for $400 if they're offering $350, or $450 and settle on $300? Do I go up? Where do I go? We never know. So obviously looking at data is important. Understanding the story does matter. Where they're coming from matters. But you also need to know what the time requirement is. So a surgeon getting paid $400 doing 10 days of call per month is much different than a surgeon making $400 getting for 3 days of call per month, or getting paid $1,000 a piece after 3 days. Much different scenarios. So what's the base salary and how should you negotiate it? It varies based on a lot of factors. Risk in the contract does matter as well, so take that into consideration when you're negotiating compensation. But instead of just going in and asking for more money, instead of just going in and having a number, right, they're offering $400, I'm going to go to $450. Why? Because it's higher. I think you should seek to understand first, where does the $400 come from? Do they offer the same for everybody? When was the last time they changed it? What metrics do they use when they set the $400? Is it MGMA? Is it a blended survey? If they use something like that, great. How often is it revalued? Maybe they did it 3 years ago and they're going to do it next year. So if you're signing a contract for 2024 and you're starting in August and they rebase everybody in July, will yours change? So there's all kinds of questions that you could ask before you even say, and I'd like to have more. I think it's no different than when you see a patient. You ask them questions. You understand what's going on with them. You do a full history in the background. You look at what they're taking for medications, and then you make a decision on a test or a medication or a supplement or exercise, as it may be, or going and seeing a specialist. But you don't know any of that until you talk with them and get the full story from them. And I think asking for more on anything in your contract is the same thing until we seek to understand first. So let's ask a lot of questions. We can provide those questions to you here at Contract Diagnostics just by emailing us. So message us at info@Contract Diagnostics. We can get those over to you at no charge. Of course, we provide many more details and options to our clients here. Other questions that I get has to do with negotiating a bonus structure that's more aligned to their performance, right? So again, how are you structured at the beginning? I don't know. If it's flat salary and you're a 90th percentile producer, you should receive a bonus, unless you're already paid at the 90th percentile. There's nothing wrong with a flat salary at the 90th percentile for someone who's producing at the 90th percentile. But most of the time we see bonus structures in most physician contracts. I think I don't know what our data shows, I could look, but I think the national data sets that you look at show that about 69% of physicians have a bonus structure type in their contract. And they could be obviously quality metrics. They could be production bonuses. They could be pooled bonuses. They could be citizenship bonuses, or they could be tied to the financial progress of the organization. It just depends. But how do you negotiate the bonus structure? I think it depends on what they're offering. If it's a tiered structure, we could ask for different tiers. If it's a flat structure, we could ask for a higher one or for tiers. If it's RVU based, we could ask for a higher conversion factor or a lower threshold. If it's collection based in a private practice model, you could ask for a higher percentage or a lower threshold. You could ask for proration for a partial year. You could ask for a second tier, maybe from 30% to 40% if you cross a certain threshold on an annual basis. You can ask for chunk bonuses. Once you cross this number, you receive a chunk bonus of $25,000 or $50,000, or depending on the metrics, more or less. You could ask for a patient satisfaction bonus. You could have them incorporate a quality bonus, not just for you, but for all physicians. Those are all ideas on how you can negotiate a bonus structure. But again, knowing where you start off is important, because it might not be a bonus structure. Maybe it's just increasing the hourly rate by a couple bucks. So I think it's important, again, to understand where they're at and then why they are where they are, and then how we could move the needle from there. Another question that has to do with negotiation talks about who decides how you negotiate, and should it be different? So does a primary care doctor negotiate differently than a pediatrician, differently than a cardiologist, differently than an orthopedic surgeon or a neurosurgeon? I think the answer is yes. Everyone has their personality. Now, does it matter if you're a pediatrician making less money than a neurosurgeon on how to negotiate? Again, it depends on the story. If you're the only pediatrician in this rural town, they haven't had one for 10 years, that's really important. You should be very confident in your discussions and negotiations with the employer. And if you're the sixth neurosurgeon to join a group and they had 12 people apply, maybe you don't have as much power as you think you do as a highly trained neurosurgeon. So it all depends on the story. And so once you define your story, of course, then you can kind of have a frame. Now, are you the quiet type and nervous to have conversations like this? And if so, obviously your negotiation could be different and should be different than that of a person who's very aggressive and very go-getter and very talkative. You need to be careful on how you approach them because it could come differently from what they perceive to be an arrogant surgeon versus a quiet, sweet pediatrician. So those things all matter when it comes to negotiating the style, not just the context. So questions do matter, frame does matter. And to that end, I'll leave you all with this. We didn't even get to anything else that you guys could negotiate in the contract, but I'll tell you this. When it comes to negotiation, one of the things that's important is a phone call. Not just popping an email over, even if it's with talking points from Contract Diagnostics or another well-established firm that says, these are the things that they said I want or that I want. I think an email is not sufficient. A conversation, due diligence, undercover, looking under all the rocks is important because you may ask a question that would lead down another path of questions that you don't even know. No different than when you're talking to a patient about what brings them in today. So I like an email or a phone call saying, I've had everything reviewed. When can we talk? Get on the phone with them, talk with them for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Get on the phone with the benefit expert and talk with them in the HR department if you need. And then send them an email afterwards saying, thank you for your time. We discussed A and you said B. We discussed C and you said D. I'd like to formally request X, Y, and Z. Please let me know when we could have another conversation on the deliverable for the contract or the update to the letter of intent or the changes, or let me know if I've missed anything if there are no changes in negotiations, didn't progress into here's what will change. But at the end of the day, a phone call is always better than an email because things could be taken out of context. I hear from a lot of physicians, I emailed them 3 days ago, I haven't heard back. Did I upset them? Are they going to pull the offer? And I don't know the answer. Maybe they took something wrong. Maybe they're working hard to resolve the issues that you have and they just haven't emailed you back. Maybe you did upset them. Maybe they're sick. So I don't know, but I don't like you guys going through the stress of not knowing. Plus, I just think a conversation is better than doing things over the email. But I do think documenting it through email is vital. So I hope these tips, pointers have helped. We've got 1,000 more here at Contract Diagnostics. It's what we do every day. We have for almost 13 years. It's hard to believe. But we still have as much fun as we did back then, every single day now. And thankfully, we were able to help a lot more physicians with our wonderful staff here. So if we can help you with a contract review, a compensation analysis, or just a free inquiry call to tell us what's going on, give us a call. You can find us at contractdiagnostics.com. You can email us at info@contractdiagnostics.com. And we will always be here to help. Our text program answers 24/7. Our email system's always there. You can call into the office and speak with somebody on our staff at any time. And of course, you can set up that 15-minute inquiry call on our website any day or night with a cell phone or a tablet or a work computer. So we'll be here and waiting for you to reach out. Enjoy the day.